G'day, g'day. How you going? What do you know? He'll strike a light. G'day, g'day. And how you going? Just say g'day, 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 and you'll be right.
Now we come to the portion of the service before we get into our Bible study that we talk about some end times news and trends that we see happening around the world as it relates to Bible prophecy. And each week, as we say, it gets more things happening. It's escalating. The signs of the times as you read through the Bible, Matthew 24, 2 Timothy 3, just talks about these end times and things that we got to consider. We always mention about the grid, the filter grid. When you look at news reports, things that are happening from the earth and the sky, the amount of earthquakes that are going on, super quakes that are happening around the world, the natural disasters. We also talk about morality and the immorality, the homosexuality, the transgender issues all thrown in this as well, and the pornography and just the things of anything to deal with morality. Then you have the religion aspect. This is where you see the deception and the apostasy that's happening, but it's also the persecution that's happening around the world, and also the formation of the one world religion as the popes are really trying to push this agenda as well. Then there's the technology that's happening with the cashless society to just the computers and just all these other infrastructures that's being developed as a whole nother level in these last days. Then, of course, you got the nations, dealing with the nations and the wars and rumors of wars and kingdoms and governments and policies and bankruptcies within the different countries. And then, of course, more importantly, the nation of Israel, which is the timepiece of Bible prophecy. But in reading through hundreds of articles each week, you do come across some interesting items that you just have to chuckle at some of these things. I'm going to share some of these things, and then we'll get into some of the more serious things. This one came out on Wednesday out of the Brett Bart report that an Indian politician names his son Socialism, Communism, and Leninism. He grew up in a family where they were more communist, and because it was so much in his blood, he decided to name his sons these three names: Communism, Socialism, and Leninism. Another thing that you just have to chuckle is this one also came out of the Brett Bart report on Wednesday. The Islamic State offers marriage counseling to stop the fleeing of slave wives. Really? No wonder why they're fleeing from the caliphate. They don't want to be a part of it, so they're offering a counseling service for them. And then thirdly, this one came out of the Daily Mail on Wednesday, and obviously this guy missed the lesson on timing and location, where a Taliban suicide bomber killed himself and 8 other jihadists on Tuesday after setting off explosives prematurely while coordinating attacks in Afghanistan. And you could probably picture the guy playing with his little knob, and then all of a sudden, boom, just going off. So just one of those comical, interesting news items. This one went off on Thursday, where the Muslim terrorist that was on trial for the terrorist attack in Paris that killed 368 people. He says this: he's confused and upset why his attorney and other non-Muslims despise him. He's perplexed by that. In fact, he goes on to say that it's very uneasy about the reactions from his defense of Islam. The Arabs congratulate me, but the non-Arabs give me hateful looks. It's very unhealthy, he says. No wonder. And then this one, refugees erupt in a massive riot at a restaurant when they are told that they have to pay for their meals. Really? Anyways, you're seeing those sort of stories come out. You just have to chuckle. Are you serious? On a more serious note, this one came out of the Jerusalem Post on Thursday that Italy nabs 4 suspects of ISIS plot to attack Israel's embassy and in the Vatican. So there was a report. They intercepted some talk that was happening, that the Israel embassy in Rome and the Vatican were among the alleged targets. So even though they're not necessarily going into the country itself, when you attack an embassy of the country, you're attacking that country itself. And so they said that they wanted to hit Israel in Rome. So that's how the police got the the information. They intercepted this conversation, and so therefore they're able to grab these 4 guys that were planning to attack the embassy there in Rome and also in the Vatican. On to another report. This one came out of the Al Jazeera on Wednesday, that the UN rejects Israel's claim to the Golan Heights. And this is going to be a big issue over the next couple weeks and months, this whole Golan Heights issue. But the United Nations Security Council had rejected Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's claim about the annexed Golan Heights in Syria that would forever remain under Israeli control. The 15-member of the council agreed on Tuesday that the status of the Golan Heights, which Israel seized during that Six-Day War in 1967, remains unchanged. The Chinese ambassador who holds this month's council presidency, and he called the resolution that states Israel's decision to impose laws, jurisdiction, administration on occupied Syrian Golan Heights was null and void without any international legal effect. So the Israeli ambassador had a response that rejected this sort of complaint. And he says, holding a meeting on this topic completely ignores the reality of what's happening in the Middle East. While thousands of people are being massacred in Syria and millions of citizens have become refugees, the Syrian Council, the Security Council, had chosen to focus on Israel, the only true democracy in the Middle East. Unfortunately, the interest parties are attempting to use the council for unfair criticism of Israel. And this is one of those whole continue to go against the nation of Israel, as the Bible has talked about from time and again. Past U.S.-Israeli-Syrian peace efforts were predicated on the return of the Golan Heights, where some 23,000 Israelis now live among those in the Arabs loyal to Damascus as well. So they're living within that area. And the council supported the negotiation arrangement to settle in the whole issue. When you look at where the United Nations, they're not parked in or watching over in the Syrian area. They're all in Israel. That's where they're going to be camped out. They're safer in Israel than any other place in the world, for that matter. But asking Israel to give up the Golan Heights to Syria is kind of like asking the United States to give Texas back to Mexico. It's not going to happen. So this whole Security Council expressed deep concern as the Israeli government's claiming permanent sovereignty over the Golan Heights. So as we mentioned, there's going to be a big issue. This is where there's going to be the attack that's going to come from the north, as Ezekiel 38:39 talks about. Next Sunday night, because tonight we're having the Manchester United chaplain coming out, but next Sunday night, if it works out, I've got a video to show about the Golan Heights that's taken place, what's there, what's happening there. It's a live report that was going on there, giving you more details of what's really happening. And then finally, this report came out of the Prophecy Newswatch, and it had a question mark. It says, the final peace accord to be forced upon Israel this fall. So the Palestinian Authority president, again, he was going to propose this plan and negotiation this past week, but he pulled it back because he would rather risk the support of his own supporters than to lose the French and international support for action against Israel before the UN. So several weeks, the anticipation had been building. We thought Abbas was going to push this Security Council resolution on April 22nd. Condemning and declaring the illegal ongoing construction of Israeli in the West Bank. So the Palestinian diplomats continue to assure that the Western diplomats and the international media that the demand for the vote for the Palestinian Authority resolution was not in question. And so he ended up pulling back and not pushing forward on this. And here's the thing with this agenda with the French is that they went against Benjamin Netanyahu, who rejected the plan. And so they're saying that if he continues to reject it, then we're going to go ahead and recognize Palestine as a state. And again, as we mentioned time and again, a vote for Palestine is a vote against Israel. So the potential scenario that the diplomats that go way beyond the Israeli and Palestinian issues make it a much larger Arab-Israeli peace negotiations that encompasses both the Arabs, but also, or the Palestine and the Arab League for that matter. So that the peace with the entire Arab world may be just done with this whole agreement that's going to happen. So it's not just dealing with Palestine, it's dealing with the whole region. And as the Bible experts have long pointed out, that the final peace covenant that we talk about in Daniel chapter 9 involves Israel signing a peace agreement that encompasses several important factors, including the confirming and peace with many. And so the idea of confirming suggests the guaranteed or enforcing an existing treaty that has already been put forward by the Arab peace plan. And the idea that involves many suggests that the treaty would be more comprehensive than just Palestine. And by the way, the Arab League represents 22 different countries, which certainly would qualify for many. And so the book of Daniel, it details other elements within this particular treaty. But we're starting to see, as we say time and again, Bible prophecy unfolding before our eyes. The pieces are coming ever so close together. And so, again, the Scriptures reveal the eventual peace treaty that is signed that will only be a temporary peace. And it'll be interesting, at the end of this month is when they're going to kind of put these agreements together. Is it going to be a 7-year agreement? Which is exactly the time frame of the tribulation period. And so which is going to be the most deadly time on earth. And so God has laid out for us in advance what to expect in these last days. And it's an important period of time to become even better equipped with what the Bible tells us to do. Amen? And that concludes today's update.